Hi, welcome back to my workshop. You saw me welding on this frame. This frame is the frame that's going to lift the body of the machine, the top part, and it'll lift it with this under that neck of the machine. And when the whole thing's put together, it's actually going to lift the whole machine to put it in its final spot. It's coming along pretty well. But did you see how bright that welding light is? It's actually pretty hard to see, and I've got a special mechanism here. Not only does this helmet protect me from the heat and the spatter of the welding, it has this cartridge in it. And this cartridge stays mostly clear until the very bright light happens, that light from the arc of the arc welding, which is like looking at the brightest bright sun. So if I didn't have this, I'd be blinded by the welding. And if I had something dark enough to not be blinded by the welding, I couldn't see what I was doing before the arc started. So it's really hard to start the arc in the right place. And this is pretty neat. Let me show you how it works. So right now, you can see the wood through the cartridge. But when I bring the light back and shine it on the sensor, it's dark. See the wood? Dark. See the wood? Dark. So when I strike the arc, which is what it's called in welding, and it gets very bright, this immediately, within just a few milliseconds, goes dark. And I have a dial back here, shades 9 through 13, and I can turn it and make it darker. At 13, which I don't have it turned to, that's a little darker than I have it between 9 and 10 right now, about 9.5. At 13, it's safe to look at an eclipse. So this thing is really powerful in terms of how much it can block light at the right time. When you do look at an eclipse, you have to do something to force it to turn dark. So it's not really, you have to be careful when looking at an eclipse, even with professional protective gear. So let's talk about light a little bit. When I could see well, I welded well. Over here, welded a nice straight line. Over here, there are actually two welds on top of each other because I welded and then I kind of wandered off. I wandered off over here, I think, if I remember correctly, because I lost sight of what I was doing. So being able to see changes how we do things. Had to come back and do a little more welding. It looks a little rough, but it'll be solid enough to keep this thing together and hold the 3,000 pounds of the machine. So that's good. But let's talk about light a little bit and about seeing. This is the season of Epiphany. In the season of Epiphany, we celebrate the manifestation of God on earth, Jesus. We celebrate a particular aspect, the revelation, the way Jesus' coming as king makes us see things differently. Its story starts the first day, Epiphany, which was Wednesday of this week. It's Sunday when I'm recording this. It was Wednesday, and that was the day we celebrate the coming of the Magi. That's really kind of a strange story. The Magi aren't Jewish. They don't speak the languages of the Bible. They don't probably speak Hebrew at all. They were aware of the Hebrews, but the Hebrews weren't really anything to them. But through their own language, a superstitious one actually, they were astrologers, and they looked at the stars, and the way the stars aligned made them think certain things were going to happen. And the stars aligned in a way that said, a king was born to the Jews. So they came to look for the king. God called them with their own superstitions. It baffles me because I don't believe that anything they believed about how the stars line up was true. But God made it true for them and called them. And they came and worshiped the king, baby Jesus, and gave him extravagant gifts. Gold and frankincense and myrrh. And that frankincense and myrrh sounds all foreign and strange, but they were very valuable substances then. They're even very valuable substances now. And gold, well, that's still valuable too. Extravagant gifts fit for a king. And somehow, they could see that this baby, not in a palace, was king. God's revelation changed how they saw things. And that's amazing. And what's even more amazing is that's kind of the beginning of inviting me into the kingdom. Up until that point, in many ways, the prophecies and the promises of God were held by the Jews for the Jews. And I'm a Gentile. My ancestors are from Denmark and Germany, not from Palestine. I'm not Jewish by birth, but God brought me in. He cast things in a new light. He made the whole world His people. And that's part of what we're celebrating with Epiphany. So, welcome to the kingdom. I'll see you again soon.